Jungkook had never imagined leaving Seoul so suddenly, but things changed. His grandmother was getting older and had been unwell for quite some time. However, the old lady refused to leave the house her husband had built with his blood and sweat, just to give her a comfortable life. His parents, tied to their bustling business in Seoul, begged her to join them, but she wouldn't budge. So Jungkook, ever the devoted grandson, traded the neon lights of Seoul for the coastal hills of Busan to look after her, hoping that in a few months, he could convince the stubborn lady. New city, new school, new faces. His heartthrob personality, sharp wit, and effortless charm made him an instant sensation. Whispers followed him down the halls. Who is the new guy? He is so good-looking. He is cute. Jungkook was used to attention. His sharp features, bright eyes, and confident aura made people notice him wherever he went. But attention also attracted trouble, and trouble arrived sooner than expected. He was walking down the hallway when a group of seniors blocked his path. At the center stood the most infamous one, the so-called bad boy of the school, jealous of the buzz around this pretty boy, Junior. Josh, little boy. He smirked. Jungkook raised an eyebrow. I heard you're a genius, little boy. Josh sneered, shoving a thick stack of papers against Jungkook's chest. My assignment is due tomorrow. Since you love studying so much, do it for me. Jungkook tilted his head slightly. He looked at the papers, then back at Josh with a razor-sharp smirk. How could I, Hyung? I'm 2 years your junior, unless you're so dim-witted that you need a junior to explain basic calculus to you. The silence was broken by the muffled snickers of Josh's own friends. He shot them a venomous glare, fists clenching. Josh, you think you're clever? I'll make your life hell here. He lunged, grabbing for Jungkook's jaw. Jungkook's fist tightened, ready to swing when... Leave him, the voice was soft, but it carried authority. Both boys turned around. A girl was walking toward them. Her expression wasn't angry, but her eyes were firm. Again, she said calmly, you're bullying a junior. The senior stiffened. Josh froze. He dropped his hand instantly, his tough guy persona evaporating. He had been chasing the student council president for months, desperate to impress her. I wasn't doing anything, just checking if the new kid was settling in. Right, boys? He forced a laugh. Anyway, I was just leaving. Within seconds, he disappeared with his friends. Meanwhile, Jungkook's eyes had been fixed on her the moment she appeared. She wasn't just pretty. She had an aura of calm authority that made his heart do a backflip. Are you okay? She asked. He didn't even blink. She waved her hand in front of his face. Hello, Earth new kid. Did he scare you that bad? No, I mean yes. No. Jungkook stammered, his brain short-circuiting. The guy who was ready to break a senior's nose 5 seconds ago was now blushing like a toddler. She smiled at his adorable reaction. Her smile lit up like sunlight breaking through clouds, and he grinned back, boyish and unguarded. She shook her head lightly. Don't be scared of him. He's stupid. If he bothers you again, come find me in the council office. I'm not a fan of bullies. Understand? He nodded eagerly, like a puppy promised a treat. She gave him a polite, encouraging smile. Good. She started to leave, but he called out, Jungkook, thank you, Nuna, for saving me, even though he'd been seconds from decking the guy himself. She paused, turning with a polite smile. No problem, but learn to stand up for yourself. I won't always be around. By the way, what's your name? Jungkook opened his mouth. His mind went blank. What was it? Started with a J. My name, it's Jungkook. All right, Jungkook. See you around, try to stay out of trouble. She waved and walked off, leaving him staring after her. And Jungkook stood there watching her until she disappeared. A few seconds later, realization hit him like lightning. His eyes widened. Oh shit! He ran a hand through his hair dramatically. I forgot to ask her name, he groaned. Stupid Jungkook. But somewhere deep inside his chest, something strange had already started, and Jungkook didn't know it yet. That girl would soon become the most important person in his life. Jungkook barely slept that night, not because of the new house, not because of the new school, but because of her. The girl who appeared out of nowhere, stopped the bully like it was nothing, and smiled at him, as if it was the most normal thing in the world. And the worst part, he didn't even know her name. Jungkook groaned and buried his face in the pillow. Stupid Jungkook. The next morning, he reached school earlier than usual. His eyes kept scanning every corner of the campus. The gate, the hallway, the stairs. Every time he saw a girl with long hair from behind, his heart jumped. Is that her? But every time the girl turned around, not her. He sighed dramatically. His new friend, Jimin, sitting next to him, noticed. Why do you look like someone stole your lunchbox? Jungkook leaned back in his chair. I'm looking for someone. Jimin, who? Jungkook paused. I don't know. Jimin blinked. You don't know? I mean, I know her face, but I don't know her name. That doesn't help at all. Jungkook ran a hand through his hair. She's a senior. Wow, great information, Jimin said sarcastically. During lunch break, Jungkook decided to look around the senior building, dragging Jimin along with him. Jimin followed him, looking around nervously. Are you trying to get us scolded for roaming around in the seniors' building? Jimin asked dramatically. Jungkook smirked. Trust me, nothing will happen. I'm with you. That's exactly what worries me, Jimin muttered. He walked slowly through the corridor, trying not to look suspicious. Where are you? He muttered. Jungkook suddenly slowed down and peeked into one of the classrooms. Jimin crossed his arms. What are you doing? Nothing. You just checked 3 classrooms. I was just looking. For what? Jimin asked suspiciously. Jungkook ignored. A few seconds later, he stopped again and looked down the hallway. Jimin squinted at him. Wait. His eyes slowly widened in realization. Oh my god. Jungkook tried to walk away, but Jimin grabbed his arm. You're not here for sightseeing. Jungkook scratched the back of his neck nervously. I never said that. Jimin pointed dramatically down the hallway. You're looking for her. Several students turned to look at them. Jungkook quickly covered Jimin's mouth. Are you crazy? Jimin removed his hand and whispered loudly. I knew it, Jungkook sighed. You're being dramatic. Oh really? Jimin said. Then why have we walked past this corridor 6 times? Jungkook blinked. Has it been 6? Yes. Jimin leaned closer, lowering his voice. So, the new guy got a crush on a senior. He just grinned sheepishly. Shut up. I don't even know her name. Jungkook kept walking like he didn't hear him. Suddenly he heard laughter. A familiar voice. Soft, warm. His head snapped toward the sound. And there she was, standing near the window with 2 friends. Sunlight was falling on her hair, and she was laughing at something one of her friends said. Jungkook froze. For a moment, everything around him went quiet. His heart started beating faster. There she is. He had finally found her. He quickly stepped behind a pillar, peeking from the side like a detective. A girl nearby called someone's name. YN. And she answered. Jungkook's ears immediately caught the name YN. He whispered it slowly. YN. A smile spread across his face. So that's your name. Just then, someone suddenly tapped his shoulder. Jungkook almost jumped out of his skin. He turned around quickly and froze. It was her. He quickly looked around, but Jimin had already disappeared, probably abandoning him the moment things got suspicious. YN tilted her head slightly, looking amused. Why are you hiding behind a pillar like a criminal? Jungkook's brain completely shut down. He laughed awkwardly. AI. She crossed her arms. Are you stalking the senior floor? He shook his head rapidly. And no, I was just... He paused. His brain refused to cooperate. YN raised an eyebrow. Just what? Jungkook scratched the back of his neck awkwardly. Looking for the bathroom. She stared at him for a second. Then she smiled. Jungkook felt like his heart might actually explode. You're a terrible liar, she said. Then she leaned a little closer and added teasingly. Also, the washroom is on the other side. Jungkook blinked. Oh, she shook her head with a small smile. Try not to stutter next time when you lie. And then she walked away. Jungkook stood there like a statue. A huge smile slowly appeared on his face. YN. He whispered her name again. Suddenly, Jimin appeared from behind the pillar. Really? Jungkook jumped again. Where did you come from? Jimin ignored the question and crossed his arms dramatically. YN Nuna. Jungkook, what? She's 2 years senior to us. Jungkook blinked, then he shrugged casually. Jimin continued. And it's her last year here. Jungkook stayed silent for a moment. Then he smiled again. So what? Jimin stared at him. Do you seriously think she'll fall for a junior? Jungkook looked in the direction YN had gone. Then a confident smile slowly appeared on his face. We'll see. Jimin shook his head slowly. You're really gone. After discovering her name, Jungkook felt like he had achieved something extremely important. YN, he repeated it in his head, the entire way home. While eating dinner, while brushing his teeth, even while trying to sleep. YN. His grandmother looked at him suspiciously from across the table. Who is YN? Jungkook choked on his rice. No one. She raised an eyebrow but decided not to ask more. The next morning, Jungkook reached school with a very clear mission. Accidentally run into YN once. Maybe twice. Okay, maybe 10 times. First attempt. He walked past the senior hallway slowly, pretending to check something on his phone. His eyes secretly scanned the corridor. No YN's second attempt. He walked past again. Still nothing. Third attempt. A teacher suddenly stopped him. "Why are you wandering around here? This is the senior floor." Jungkook quickly bowed. "Sorry, sir, I was just searching for the washroom." He escaped before getting caught again. Finally, during lunch break, Jungkook spotted her. She was sitting outside under a tree with her friends. His heart instantly sped up. He walked past them, trying to look cool. Too cool. In fact, he was too focused on acting cool. He didn't notice the small rock in front of him, and tripped hard for a moment. He performed a desperate, chaotic dance, trying to keep himself from falling, but it was useless. He almost face-planted right in front of them, barely managing to stop himself at the last second, looking like a completely discarded ragdoll. YN looked up. For a second she just stared at him, then she burst out laughing. Her friends quickly followed. Jungkook quickly stood up and brushed the invisible dust off his uniform, trying to regain his dignity. "Don't worry," he said seriously, pointing at the rock behind him. "I was just testing the gravity here." YN laughed even harder. "You're unbelievable." Jungkook coughed awkwardly and tried to walk away like nothing happened, only to hear one of her friends whisper loudly, "Is that the cool transfer student everyone was talking about?" YN replied between laughs, "Apparently," and Jungkook wished the ground would finally open and actually swallow him this time. Behind him, her friends were still laughing, but after a moment, YN's laughter slowly faded. She watched Jungkook's back as he walked away, rubbing the back of his neck in embarrassment. One of her friends nudged her. "You're smiling." YN blinked. "What? He's cute." She immediately looked away. "Don't be ridiculous. He is a junior," but despite her words, a small smile still lingered on her lips, and for some reason, she found herself glancing toward the hallway, where Jungkook disappeared. Jungkook walked quickly down the hallway, his ears still burning from embarrassment. Testing the gravity, he muttered to himself. "Seriously, Jungkook, that's the best thing you could say." Suddenly, someone grabbed his shoulder from behind. Jungkook almost jumped. Jimin appeared beside him with a huge grin on his face. "I saw everything." Jungkook froze. "You did not." "Oh, I absolutely did saw your gravity experiment." Jungkook covered his face with his hand. "Please stop." But Jimin wasn't finished. "Oh, and the best part." Jimin leaned closer. "Your YN Nuna couldn't stop laughing." Jungkook immediately straightened. "She was laughing a lot." Jimin stopped walking and stared at him. Jungkook tried to look normal. "I was just asking." Jimin leaned closer with a mischievous grin. "So when are you confessing?" Jungkook opened his mouth, and then closed it again. Jimin burst out laughing. Jungkook scoffed. "Relax, I just met her." Jimin smiled innocently. "I fully support this impossible love story." Jungkook rolled his eyes. "Impossible." Jimin shrugged. "She's 2 years senior, the student council president, popular, smart." Then he looked at Jungkook. "And you're the guy who just tripped over a rock in front of her." Jungkook groaned. "I'm begging you, Jimin." The next day during lunch, Jimin was peacefully eating his food. Life was calm, quiet, normal, until Jungkook suddenly sat down across from him with a suspiciously serious expression. Jimin narrowed his eyes. Jungkook leaned forward. "I have a plan." Jimin slowly put down his spoon. "That sentence has never led to anything good." Jungkook ignored him. "You said she gives tuition to juniors." "Right." Jimin froze. "No." Jungkook blinked. "What? I did not say that." Jimin said quickly. "You did." "I definitely did not. You literally told me yesterday." Jimin stood up dramatically. "I refuse to participate in whatever nonsense you're planning." Jungkook sighed. "Relax, I'm just going to ask her to tutor me." Jimin stared at him, then burst out laughing. "You?" "Yes, the guy who gets the highest marks. That was luck." "Luck?" Jimin pointed at him. "You solved 3 questions the teacher couldn't finish explaining." Jungkook shrugged casually. "Math is confusing sometimes." Jimin crossed his arms. "You're unbelievable." YN was in the library with few juniors. She was explaining something patiently. Jungkook walked toward her. Jimin followed behind, whispering nervously, "This is a terrible idea." Jungkook ignored him. "YN Nuna." He called her softly. She looked up. "Oh, the gravity scientist." Jimin immediately started laughing behind Jungkook. Jungkook quickly stepped on his foot. "Hard." Jungkook cleared his throat. "Actually, I need you help with my studies." YN raised an eyebrow. "You need help?" Jungkook nodded seriously. "Yes." She studied him for a moment, then sighed softly. "All right, you can join the group, but only if you're serious. Jungkook smiled. Yes, yes, I am. Some days later, YN was walking out of the library with Jungkook and Jimin beside her. The three of them were laughing at something silly they had just said. Just then, another presence appeared nearby. Josh. His eyes immediately fell on them, especially on Jungkook walking beside YN so comfortably. His expression darkened. So this is what you've been doing lately, he said coldly. YN frowned. What do you mean? Josh ignored her and looked directly at Jungkook. Jungkook calmly met his gaze. Stop hanging around her. Before Jungkook could reply, YN spoke sharply. Excuse me, I'm the one talking to him. Josh clenched his jaw. Jungkook noticed everything, the irritation, the jealousy, the tension in Josh's voice. A small smirk appeared on Jungkook's lips. Don't worry, Hyung, he said casually. I'm just walking with my Nuna. Josh's eyes widened slightly. YN looked surprised too, turning her head to look at Jungkook. But Jungkook simply smiled innocently. For some reason, she didn't correct him. Behind them, Jimin leaned closer to Jungkook and whispered dramatically, Congratulations, you just shortened your life.